defense as a whole, I mean, I know you've got your group, but are they making the calls the way you want and then playing as fast as you want, you know, for now anyway?
They really are, and that's the one thing that we've stressed, and I just told them here a second ago, you know, when we go into Friday night, the one thing that I want to see, there's really two things I want to see, but the one thing that I want to see them play at a high tempo. And to do that, you've got to be able to take all those fundamentals and all those techniques that you've got and combine that with your God-given instincts. And I think that's important for them to understand. Don't just be a robot out there. Don't just understand the rules out there, but understand that I'm going to take those rules, I'm going to take those fundamentals, and then I'm going to apply it with my God-given instincts. And that's what we're really trying to make sure they understand, playing at that high speed and that high tempo.
With what NC State does on offense, how much does that create even more of a sense of urgency? Because no matter who NC State plays, you know, they're going to do the motions and shifts and things.
Right.
That's their offense. But I imagine going into it with a brand new defense, you know, that they probably do that even more maybe.
Right. You know, I think that's one thing that we are anticipating. We're anticipating a lot of shifts. We're anticipating a lot of motions. We expect them to do those types of things. I think our comfort level as a defense right now is pretty good. We've worked it a ton. We've worked it against our offense quite a bit. We've done it all fall camp. We, you know, touched on it in the spring. So there is a little bit of anxiety, you know, I think early on. But right now, when we came off the field today, our guys were pretty sharp. They felt good about the adjustments and what we have to do with the shifts and the trades. But also within that, you know, not get into too much scheme. You know, we're going to keep it where we're going to allow our guys to play fast as well, and that's what what it really comes down to. You know, those one-on-one battles everywhere.
The biggest test comes on Friday night, obviously, and there's a lot of uncertainty always going into a first game. But as you look at from the time you arrived here until the preparations for this game,
right,
has the growth been what you would want, what you've expected? I mean, would you, if you could have guessed back then, would you be happy with where it is now?
I'm very, very happy with where it's at right now. I'm excited about where our guys are at. They've gone above and beyond the call of duty as far as what I kind of anticipated when we first started installing in the spring, and I'm excited to see where that is and where that carryover is on Friday night for sure.
How close to game speed can you get the practices? Like, how are y'all pretty much game speed right now?
We are game speed. You know, I think it's, you know, anytime you have a look team, it can be a little bit more difficult, but our scout team has done a great job of getting the looks that we need at the speed that we need. And then you're also, you know, stressing to your guys all the time, hey, we've got to get faster from, you know, a defensive perspective, and we can't match necessarily the offensive scout team look. We've got to match our speed that we want to play with.
How would you describe your players', you know, respect level for NC State's quarterback? He's a guy that put up pretty good numbers last year, good size.
Right.
He's on a lot of mock draft boards and things.
Right.
You know, did well at the Manning Academy. How good is he?
I think we're going to respect every opponent. Just like you said, he's a very good player. He's a solid player. He can do a lot of good things. You know, he can throw the ball. He can make every throw on the field right now. And but we're going to respect every opponent. We respect this guy, and with respect means we got to give him our very best. You know, whoever it is.
Josh, when you were at the Citadel and calling defenses, were you up in the box, down the sideline?
I've spent some time in the box. I've spent some time on the sideline, and I'm going to be up in the box this year.
Is that something? Is that something that they asked you to do? Is that your choice?
You know, we talked about it as a staff, and we just decided that may be the best fit. You got, you know, you have Sal, you have DA on the field, you got JP on the field. You know, with coordinator experience, I think I can put some eyes on it. You know, Coach Staley will be up there as well, so we'll have some good sets of eyes, I think. You know, up there in the box.
You guys have, you know, connections with these staff. You guys, some of the guys have known each other for a while. I mean, how can that help you? You know, all y'all's first time going out there and coaching the game in a live situation like that.
You know, when we did the mock game last week, I felt like we had really solid communication. We got the checks that we needed to. We went in there blind as a coaching staff as far as the guys up in the box, just so we could relay the information that we needed to relay. We got it quick. The communication was really pretty smooth, and I think, you know, guys being on the same page, being around how guys are going to be on game day definitely helps you out as you go in. Yep.
I know working with different coaches is a part of the coaching business, but what's it been like to work with Coach Cesare over the last several months, and is he kind of excited to make his Tennessee debut, do you think?
I think he's really excited to make his Tennessee debut, and it's been nothing but extremely positive for me working with him. And every time you go to a place, you find out, you know, how different guys do things and how they approach it. You love his intensity, you love the expectations that he sets, and that's the one thing that I really value about him. He sets the expectation. He says, hey, here's the standard, and then go meet the standard. And that's players and that's coaches included. And it pushes you every single day to come into work and demand the very best from yourself. And I've really enjoyed that part of Coach.
What's something that he maybe does differently, or something that's unique to him, that, to follow up on Evan's question, that sets him apart?
I just think it's the level of intensity maybe that he does it at, and what he demands every day. The other thing that I think is really, that I've learned from him, not only the expectations, very creative, especially with the front seven. He understands the run game. He understands how to stop the run, and he's creative in finding ways and having answers to stop the run, how to stop the pass included. But he's creative in finding those ways to do those things.
Do you think he could be a source of energy on the sideline for the defense? It seems like he's a great motivator. Do you think he could also be a source of energy for those guys?
Absolutely, and I think that's part of the reason that, in my expectation of him being down there, I think that's one thing that our guys are going to draw from. His intensity. He's going to be into it. Obviously he's not out there playing, but you can feel the energy when you're around there on the sideline for sure.
I asked one of the guys like last week, I said, is there any way he can ratchet up his enthusiasm level? And they were surprisingly said they think he can.
I think he can.
Think it's
yeah,
possible?
I do too. Absolutely. I do for sure.
Yeah.
No question.
One more quick question. I think you said you'd worked as a coordinator, and before moving from a position coach to a coordinator where you're kind of a leadership level, and what was the transition like for you, and how do you think Coach Sunseri has handled his situation of being a position coach and becoming a coordinator where he's kind of a leadership level type role?
I think, number one, I think he's done a great job, and he's had some experience around some really good football coaches, as you go into it. And I think, you just understand when you go from a position coach, or you go, for me, like going from a coordinator to a position coach, everybody does it a different way. Coach Sal's way of doing it's going to be different than my way. When Coach DA gets an opportunity to coordinate, it's going to be different. He's going to do it different than I would. So one thing that I've been able to find is just, you embrace the differences. And maybe before, early on in your career, you say, I wouldn't do it that way, and you maybe become negative about it. There's no reason to be negative about it. It's all good, different ways of doing things, and you all just keep drawing from those experiences. And it's helped put me in a better place, understanding what you want from assistant coaches as a coordinator when you come into a situation like this.
Thank you so much.